Okay, I'm gonna tell you something shocking here. Brace yourself. Businesses exist to make profits. I know, it's unbelievable. These are the kinds of deep insights that got me my first A+ in 4th grade social studies. But if this is true, then why do big tech companies give away so much free software? The conventional wisdom here goes something like this. If you aren't paying for the product, then you are the product. And people use this line when talking about things like Google search, which is free, but sells your attention to advertisers, which, fair enough. But this explanation doesn't fit most of the other things which Google gives away for free, with no profit incentive. Everything from Chrome browsers and encoder technology, which is probably empowering you to watch videos like these, to tools like TensorFlow and JAX, the backends behind the AI boom skyrocketing their stock prices to the stratosphere. All released for free, even empowering their competitors to threaten their business. Why do they do it? Well, Google believes, and I quote, "Open source solves real-world problems for everyone. Google supports open source innovation, collaboration, and sustainability through their programs and services." And they aren't alone. Apple, Amazon, Facebook, Microsoft. These companies are some of the biggest contributors to free software on the internet. Perhaps they too do it because they want to support open source innovation, collaboration, and sustainability. Or perhaps their CEOs woke up one day and decided, I don't want to live in a world where someone else makes the world a better place than we do. Or perhaps these trillion-dollar corporations suddenly decided they hate capitalism. Maybe they realized how hard Marx was cooking when he said, from each according to his ability, to each according to his needs. And they decided to give back to the community to pay their fair share. Likely as that is, the throne of CEO is not omnipotent. No matter how bright the rays of any Sun King, no man rules alone. A CEO still has fiduciary responsibilities to his shareholders, and these corporations are publicly traded growth companies, so they are beholden to the market's expectations of their growth, and more growth, and more growth. But they are not fools. They obviously have strategic reasons for releasing so much free software, but what are these strategies, and how do they work? Let's deep dive. No matter how high the IQ of the next Silicon Valley darling super genius, no tech exists in a vacuum. A programmer can build an app alone, but can he build all the things his app depends upon alone? The components and systems that enable apps to do the things they do are called an app's technology stack. For a modern app, you might need cloud servers, APIs, and libraries. Every one of those is a universe of complexity onto itself. Doing it all yourself is the odyssey of giants and fools. No, every line of code you write should stand on the shoulders of giants. Your sleek user interface rendered by graphics libraries someone else optimized. Your database queries running on algorithms refined over decades. Your secure connections protected by encryption experts you will never meet. With their integration, your software is powerful. Without them, your killer app is nothing but ideas in your head. And this is the problem that tech companies faced. They had these lofty missions to make the world a better place by organizing all the world's information, connecting people, empowering people to achieve more. But these are all subjected to the ecosystems that they exist within. What do I mean by this? When they started out, they were not the titans that they are today, but simply small, vulnerable components of a larger system. A system where all of these components needed to work together to make sure that a user enjoyed a service. But they have a problem. Businesses exist to make money, so all of the components need to fight each other for a larger share of the user's wallet. And these fights are on many frontiers. In the courtrooms, in government lobbies, in predatory business practices, and curiously, in the form of giving away free stuff. Okay, let's look at an example to crystallize the concept. Let's say that you're running an advertising company. You rely on tracking your users' data to sell them ads. You would have a very big problem if the platform that you depend on decided to block those tracking features. Why? Maybe because they suddenly care about user privacy, or maybe because they feel they aren't shaking you down quite enough. Who knows? Anyway, wouldn't it be brilliant if such an advertising company had built its own operating system? This would allow you to break away from their control. But they are the big established player, and you are the plucky little upstart. Why would anyone pick your platform over theirs? I mean, ultimately what matters is who has the most users, right? Well, remember, no tech exists in a vacuum, and they have layers of the tech stack below them. Hardware makers who want nothing more than to escape their control too. So what do? You give away your software for free to these hardware makers, or really anyone who wants to use it anywhere. You tell them that they can do whatever they want to do with it, because when you say free, you mean free as in free speech, and free as in free beer. You are just the good guy, being charitable, doing everything you can to help the little guy, the small startups in developing countries who can't afford exorbitant platform fees, or the little university research groups who just want to contribute to humanity's knowledge. You just want to support innovation, collaboration, and sustainability. Sure, you won't make a profit off of the OS at this point, but that's not the point. The point is that it removes the barrier for consumers to get to your real moneymakers. And it means the big boys can't shake you down. Or, as Joel Spolsky put it, commoditize your product's complement. Now, this is a well-studied phenomenon in macroeconomics. In the marketplace, every product coexists with its substitutes and its complements. A substitute is the alternative that you might consider when the original becomes a bit too extravagant. Say opting for a Xiaomi instead of an iPhone, or choosing a PlayStation over a GameCube. And then there are complements. What is an iPhone without its apps? What is a PlayStation without its games? They are just sophisticated paperweights. See, the console and its games share a symbiotic relationship. Phil Spencer can go on stage and talk your ear off about how many billion gorillion petaflops the new Xbox has, but nobody cares. What gamers care about is, what games can I play on this? What games are my friends playing on this? What is the quality of the experience that I am going to have? They care about the complementary products and services around the console more than the console itself. And this is why there's so much competition to bring exclusives to every console, and why every console platform is practically in a rush to throw free games at their players. This is Econ 101, right? If the price of a good falls, then the demand for the good is expected to rise. And if that demand is then tied to a complementary good, like the console, then demand for that rises too. Now, some people might say that this is unfair for a number of reasons. They might say that it's unfair to other platforms because you are basically bribing developers to come to yours and create a monopoly. Some people might say that this is unfair to some developers because suddenly they have to compete against other developers who are being subsidized by your money. Some people should mind their goddamn business because we're here to make money. Is it illegal? No. Well, sometimes, but there's a lot of gray area for you to operate comfortably within. Remember, kids, it's not anti-competitive if you call it disruption and wear a snazzy black turtleneck. Is it unfair competition, or is it just how competition works? Because while you're out here hemming and hawing over this, consider that your competition won't hesitate to do the same to you. Maybe it's competitors on your layer of the stack also pushing to create monopolies, or layers above you trying to commoditize you, or layers below you trying to lock you into their platform. Angels who worry about fairy tales like fair competition will always lose to devils who don't. And besides, isn't this the beauty of capitalism? Corporations compete and the consumer wins, with cheaper products and better services. I mean, thanks to Bill Gates, you can take a hard drive from a Lenovo rig, slap it into a HP rig, and it will just work, because the OS commoditizes the hardware layer. And thanks to Jeff Bezos and Travis Kalanick, the sick, the elderly, and college students are no longer dependent on a handful of big box stores to do home delivery. Any store can, because their apps commoditize shopping. This strategy has sculpted some of the most valuable companies in history, and all they're trying to do is make the world a better place by supporting innovation, collaboration, and sustainability. It is great to see the good guys win. Now let's check back in with our friendly neighborhood advertising company. No, the other one that's not evil. Yeah, so they've created their free operating system, and they've made it available to the community, and people have adopted it, and everyone lived happily ever after. And just think, if they hadn't made Android, the smartphone market wouldn't have been built off of free and open source technology. Instead, it would have been a locked down platform, forced to pay exorbitant fees if they don't do the bidding of the big bad establishment players. Locked down to proprietary APIs. Locked down to proprietary storefronts, which take a shocking 30% off of every single transaction that exists on that phone. Not just things people buy in the store, no, but also every transaction within the apps themselves. Money cannot change hands on these locked down platforms without the big tech companies getting a cut. And allowing the big tech players to put their proprietary, borderline spyware in the background of everyone's phones, whether people wanted them or not. It's certainly a good thing that we don't live in such a timeline, where walled gardens disguise themselves as public parks. And this is the strategy. The free software is the carrot. In the short term, it has the best outcomes for consumers. We get cheaper products, better services, and a more open and innovative tech sphere in ways that are more than just buzzwords. But of course, never forget, the other end of that bargain is handing control to these big tech companies, because you can't compete with free. So once they have succeeded, once the tech stack is paved with the corpses of any who dare challenge their hegemony, why should they keep giving the carrot? When big tech says that they are the salt of the earth, check if your soil can still grow anything.